Good afternoon, everyone. It's my pleasure to be speaking in front of you today to share with you what may be surprising, but also super exciting that's happening in the Philippines. A bit of context, by way of introduction, PDAX is one of the licensed exchanges in the Philippines. And when we started PDAX in 2018, the very obvious opportunity at the time was in crypto trading. But the massive opportunity that we were all very excited about was the potential to use blockchain technology to create tokenized assets and make the markets more efficient for everyone. So when we started PDAX, we felt that retail was a nice, exciting use case, but crypto needs to be institutional. And if crypto is going to be institutional, it needs to be regulated. From day one, PDAX applied for every license that we could apply for, and some licenses that we couldn't. And so today, we are a licensed virtual asset exchange in the Philippines, a licensed crypto custodian, a licensed remittance company, a licensed e-wallet, a licensed FX dealer, and also a licensed securities broker dealer. Now, why the Philippines? Well, the Philippines is actually one of the most suitable markets for RWA because we have a lot of the problems that RWA tokenization can solve. We have 120 million people spread across 7,000 islands. Many of these places do not have access to traditional banking services. Since banking began in the Philippines, there has only ever been 30% banking penetration, and capital market penetration is under 1%. And that said, though, the Philippines is a young, very tech-savvy population that really adopts or easily adopts new technology. And so RWA, if we can maybe combine real-world assets with the mainstream traction of crypto in the Philippines, then maybe we can build something really, really valuable and exciting. So the need for RWA in the Philippines has always been clear from day one. But I think it became a lot clearer during the pandemic. The Philippine government issues bonds solely through the banking system. So every week, the national government of the Philippines carries out auctions, which are taken part in by banks, who then are intended to distribute these bonds to retail investors. But that doesn't always happen. And in the pandemic, when banks were shut down, the Philippine government needed a way to be able to sell securities to the Filipino people. So fast forward, in 2020, the national government, together with PDAX, launched bonds.ph. I remember very vividly the treasurer at the time asked us, hey, banks are closed, we need to be able to sell bonds. Can you do it through an app? And we said, yes, or the equivalent of, ma'am, we're just waiting on you. But that's not true, right? Like we had to build an app, we had to deploy, and we had to see traction in a matter of 4 weeks. But fast forward from that, the government saw how much easier it is for issuers and investors to access assets on a digital platform, that they became very supportive of seeing the digitization of the entire Philippine capital markets. So since then, PDAX and some of our partners have worked closely with the regulators to see changes in regulatory frameworks that can give rise to tokenized assets in the Philippines. So we made our big launch in November of 2023. The Philippine government issued its maiden issuance of tokenized treasury bonds. And alongside that, there are also weekly issuances of 90-day treasury bills that are taking place on-chain and accessible to all Filipinos at this point, 24/7. Some other developments or some other exciting developments that are taking place in the Philippines involve regulation. Okay, so crypto has always been regulated by the Philippine Central Bank. There have been rules in place since 2017, but more recently, the Philippines SEC has released drafts for a crypto asset services framework, which then can see the issuance or the rise of crypto asset securities and all the service providers that can bring, that can support that, that ecosystem. So what does the RWA token experience in the Philippines look like? Well, you can pull out your PDAX app or your GCash wallet or GCash app. GCash, by the way, is the largest e-wallet in the Philippines with about 90 million users, and access tokenized treasury bills. So the most exciting thing about tokenized treasury bills in the Philippines is that historically, T-bills have only been accessible at bite sizes of $100,000 or $200,000. Through tokenization, we're able to make these instruments available to Filipinos at bite sizes of $100 or as little also as $10 for the 90-day T-bill. This is also available 24/7, so users can just put out their app, sign up, buy a T-bill. So a process that used to take weeks at a bank branch now takes a matter of minutes. Now, having done these things, we definitely learned a lot of lessons along the way, and these are lessons that we'd love to share with you this afternoon. What we realized was, in the case of RWA, it's not enough to have an MVP, which is the common Silicon Valley mantra: build an MVP and then scale. It's not enough. What we need in RWA is to actually build a minimum viable ecosystem. So yes, you need a product, but you also need all the players around it that will offer support for the traction of that product. And what we found to be the first and most important ingredient into this mix is actual market demand. Okay? A lot of projects that maybe we see today, we have an issuer of a very esoteric asset or exposure that maybe nobody really cares about, right? Or we have an asset that maybe a lot of users want, but it's not big enough to attract regulators' attentions. So market demand has to be very, very clear. And that demand has to be strong because issuers who are taking part in this will also have to be very, very patient, right? Because of all the dependencies. The second is you need an agile regulator, okay? That's not the case everywhere, but fortunately for us, it is the case in the Philippines. Philippine regulators have a mandate to help develop the capital markets, and so they were willing to support us in innovating towards RWA tokens. So openness comes in the form of, hey, does your regulator have such a mandate to innovate? Do they provide for a sandbox framework? At the time, the Philippines did not have a sandbox framework, so we kind of like pushed them in that direction to just, hey, allow us to operate and then we'll work with you. Oftentimes, there have also been, there are also case precedents for what we're trying to achieve with tokenization. So maybe consult your regulator and maybe there's something there that you can use to force fit into your own projects. Now I say that regulatory agility comes after market demand because regulators will not pay attention if there is no actual demand. Third ingredient is having ample crypto asset infrastructure. So obviously, RWA tokens operate on the same rails as crypto, so the availability of credible exchanges, credible custodians, maybe even market making, broker-dealer support, these are all essential ingredients to see a successful RWA token launch. Now, what I always, or something that we have also learned operating in this market is that no amount of market making can solve liquidity, right? There has to be underlying demand for the exposure. And last but not least, institutional support. We can launch RWA tokenization projects every day and maybe demonize some of the banks that restrict us along the way. But ultimately, anytime we're connected into the financial system, we're going to have to work with banks. But I suspect that once ingredient 1, 2, and 3 are in place, the latter part of involving fiat services will be much, much easier. So thank you so much. Pleased to share with you the progress in the Philippines, and we're super excited about where things can go from here. Thank you.